Hi.
Morning.
Hi, Tolani. How are you?
Morning. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, good. You can take a moment to share this link on your Facebook page so that people can
Okay.
join as well. So
Should,
just wait for like a few minutes to get started. Okay.
should I click on the share button?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Got it. I just did it.
Okay.
This is my first time going live, so I don't know how this works.
It's so only you and I get to hear each other, but other people can just participate by
Yeah,
typing in
yeah.
the
The
comment
questions.
box.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very
Okay.
conversational and it feels like a private chat, but with just a public element in that people can
Okay.
make comments and all that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyways, nice to see you again. It's been
Yeah.
such a long
So
time.
nice to see you. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for coming on the
It's
show.
my
Really
pleasure and
appreciate it.
honor to be
And
on your podcast.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So how's Chicago today?
Chicago's great. It's cloudy outside, so it's not very sunny. So I think it's a good day.
Yeah.
Um, I might go out after the podcast. My friend is coming to visit me from Michigan. So we might go to
Oh,
Wisconsin
nice.
or just go to downtown by the lake. It's a good day to enjoy. Cloudy outside, so it's
Sorry,
not very sunny.
I
So I
did
think it's
something
a good
wrong.
day.
Okay, there you go. I didn't want to hear us talk. I want to type as people as they're talking so I can
Yeah.
create the point. So you're going out with your friend. Your friend is going to be around and you guys are
Yeah,
going.
I went to college
Nice.
with him in India, so he lives in Michigan and he's visiting me. So he's on his way now.
Okay.
So yeah.
You guys want to go hiking or sightseeing or what are
You
you guys
know,
going to do
in
in
the
particular?
Midwest, there are no mountains for hiking. We have some great
Oh,
lakes,
really?
so we might just hit the Lake Michigan or just go to Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. We don't know yet. We didn't plan anything yet, so let's see.
Okay. Well, um, all the best.
Thank you. Thank you
Have a
very
very
much.
good day. Yeah. I think we can just get started and people can trickle in later.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
because of the time, sometimes we have people like that listen after the fact. So I think we can just get started.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
welcome everyone. This is part of the okay, thank you. This is part of the More Stable podcast, and thank you so much for joining us this early morning. And I have with me today Pawan, and I'm going to do a short introduction of him in a bit. But this is the More Stable podcast. Like I said, I'm the host, More Stable. If you go to the website www.morestable.com, there's a lot of older episodes you can listen to, and also links to other Facebook Live events. So make sure you check the website because it has a lot of resources curated just for you. All right. So today I have with me Pawan.
Hmm.
Pawan is Pawan is he would describe himself as a lover of life and a seeker of thrill, adventure, family, friendships, and the highest pursuit in life of God. That's very humbling.
Thank you.
He was born in India, in the city of Hyderabad, and he grew up in the largest city in India, which is Mumbai, formerly known as Bombay. And at the age of 22, he moved to the US for his graduate studies in mechanical engineering, of course.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's an Indian joke.
Indians are doctors
Currently,
and engineers.
Pawan,
Yeah.
I know, on nothing else. You guys are beginning to sound like Nigerians, by the way.
Yeah,
Currently, Pawan's favorite things in life, apart from work, are reading good books. And we're going to define what good books mean. Physical fitness, good food, road trips, hiking, traveling, and his commitment to family, friends, and ultimately his relationship with Christ. Very good. Generally, he likes to talk about philosophy, world geography, travel, jokes, current events, politics, and of course, Jesus Christ. On a typical weekend, you can find him in a local coffee shop, sorry, or any Chicago restaurant with a good friend. He's training, he's either training or playing soccer or going to church on Sundays or just out of town hiking or road tripping. First, Pawan, I love how you just in a very few sentences how you talked about yourself, and I feel like this is something I could steal to
yeah.
modify my own life story. Because very well done, very
Thank you,
well done.
thank you.
So thank you once more for being on the show, and I really appreciate it. So I think we can just get right into it. I want to go ask about your what you mean by good books, but let's start from the very beginning. So what was life like for you growing up in India, and what made you? So you were born in Hyderabad, but then you moved to Mumbai,
Yeah.
right?
So I was born in Hyderabad in 1991, and at the age of 1, my family they moved to Mumbai, and so my memory started. I became conscious in Mumbai, and so I grew up in Mumbai until my teenage years. Growing up in Mumbai is a lot of fun. If you, I think it's the one of the best cities in the world. It's like New York City for us in India, and
Yeah.
I grew up with so many great friends with whom I'm still close. I do have many childhood memories. I cherish them a lot. And growing up, all we did was play cricket, play football, just play hide and seek, ride bikes. That was in my teenage years, ride motorbikes. But before that, ride bicycles around everywhere in
Yeah.
the colony.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. There are bruises all over my body from all of the injuries. Not motorbikes, but this playing. This
You mean your battle scars?
what is it?
Battle scars, like that was supposed to be a joke.
Oh,
Your
okay.
battle scars, like the injuries in your body.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those scars, the scars of a tiger. You can say that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger brother. He's just here in the room. He's just having breakfast.
Yeah, I've seen his picture. You guys look so much
Do you
alike,
want to
like
see him?
twins. I've seen him pictures in
Let
real
me
life.
call him. Let me call him.
Sure.
Hey, Ravi,
What's his name?
just come here. His name's Ravi. R-A-V.
Ravi?
Yeah, Ravi.
Like Ravi Zacharias?
Exactly. Yeah. So he's here. He lives in New York City, and he's just visiting me.
Ah, you look like twins.
Yeah. So that camera is here. Hey
Whoa,
everyone, this is Ravi
that's a
Munalgi
cute
here.
one.
How's everyone doing?
Hi,
Namaste.
Ravi. How you doing?
So he can't hear you. I'm on
Oh, he's
Bluetooth. So
cute.
yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
he's just
good.
visiting
So
me.
you have your siblings, like your only sibling here with you. That must
Yeah,
really
I just
feel
have
great.
one sibling, so two of us. So
Ah,
it's been great growing up with him. Well, it's not been great. We had lots of fights, but that's part of growing up.
yeah, yeah. That's always normal.
Yeah.
So your parents are still back in India, right?
Yeah, they just moved to Hyderabad from Mumbai. They live in Hyderabad
Okay.
with other family
Oh,
members.
they moved back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Another thing I wanted to really bring up, which is something you fleshed out, and before I delve into that, I want to say that this next line of questioning is not something you should go about asking Indians
Yeah.
because some might not be very comfortable talking about it. And it's the caste system. And I brought it up because you mentioned it, that you were born in a high caste system, and you that when you were 19, oh, sorry, was it 22 or 19?
19.
You got a call to follow Jesus, and I can't even imagine the implication of that. So would that be the Brahmins?
Yeah, Brahmins.
So that's I don't know what your conversion story was like. Was it very difficult for your family accepting your conversion story to Christ?
Yes, so I grew up in a very orthodox religious family in the high caste of the Brahmins. Although I was not very religious growing up, I was very like uh, very secular, very uh, modern minded and everything. So it was not a big part of my life, but still I had the fear of God in my life, right? I still had a sense of what is right and wrong. I knew that there is a creator who made this entire universe, and all human beings are accountable to him. So I had the basic fear of God. So when I came to follow Jesus Christ at the age of 19, yes, it was very difficult for my family to accept my decision to follow him, and it was very rough for the first 3 years for them to see that me being born in a very high caste family to reject that and to
Yeah.
follow
Yeah.
a very different religion. So it was very hard, I would say. Yeah.
I, how about now? Are they more accepting?
So it's been exactly 8 years now uh, since I started.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, since I started following Jesus, and we have a very close relationship. My dad, my mother, and my brother, all four of us. It's a very tight knit family. Although I do have disagreements with my mother, but we still love each other. We speak with each other at least twice or thrice a week, and I text my dad of almost every day. So we do have a great relationship. My dad understands what I believe in, although he may not
Okay.
completely understand or completely accept it. He's been to church with me sometimes. Um, I
That's
I
good.
prayed with him, although he was very hostile against my decision to follow Christ. But I had the privilege of praying with him, and I do pray for him. So yeah, we do have a great relationship. It's all about love, and I love my family a lot. They love me, and it's a part of being. It's what it is, growing up in a family.
That's beautiful. Can you quickly tell us your conversion story? Because and in working with some of my Indian friends, when we talk about religion, and it's always with on two different planes, in such that it's always hard to find a common ground
Yeah.
because depending on what kind of gods they believe in and or what kind of belief systems they have. But I just want to ask, what was that thing that caused that shift to make everything align? Like growing up in India and then following Jesus. Like, what was your conversion story?
Yeah, that's a great question, and uh, yeah. So I grew up pretty much very secular, as I said. Religion was not a big part of my life, although yes, it was a big part of my life at home during festivals and everything. I really enjoyed worshiping gods with my family and everything. So, and I believe that no matter what you believe, as long as you're sincere, you can believe whatever you want. There was no element of truth in what I believed in. So I believe that all religions all over the world are the same. Basically, all religions teach you to love and accept everyone. Yes, that is true, but that is not the main message of all the religions. Back then, I did not know that. And growing up, I had existential questions like, what is the meaning of my life? Where do I come from? And what is the ultimate destination of my life? And I had no answers. I did not know who I was. So I had existential crisis at the age of 19. Can you imagine that? Right?
Wow,
So I was,
that's young.
yeah, so I moved to Hyderabad for college at the age of 18, and I started reading
Yeah.
books. Before that, I never knew anything about Jesus Christ. I just thought that he was a white man's God or the God of the Christians. Although I went to a Christian school, but I did not know much about him, right? But when I read about Jesus Christ, or when I read the New Testament, that he came to this world, that he is God himself in the human flesh, God who made the entire universe, and the author of every life on the earth. And he is God himself in the human flesh, and that he came to die for our sins, for our mistakes, for our crimes against God, for all the evil in the world he took upon himself. And that message really touched me, uh, like someone else giving his life for me. It's a
Okay.
great sacrifice, and that God loves us with an unconditional love. And I wanted to know more
Yeah.
about him. I knew my own self. I knew the way I lived my life. I had a great conviction of my sins and a great conviction of the way I lived my life, and I wanted forgiveness. And God offers forgiveness on the cross, and I accepted that. It took me 1 year, 6 years, 6 months to 1 year to really understand or really to accept it. But then I found out that this is the truth. There is great evidence for the life of Jesus, for his death and resurrection. I looked into it, and that brought me to faith in Christ. And here I am. It's been 8 years. So that's been my story in like
Wow.
2 minutes.
I love how you paint that beautifully because I was born in a Christian home, so my conversion story was just more like, ah, you were born into it, just do it. And then when I went to college, I had to give my life to Christ, but that wasn't a choice, like I had to choose Jesus. Jesus was something that I had to just follow.
Yeah.
But I like how you painted it. Your great conviction that you needed a savior, and just that element of Jesus dying for us. I mean, that's very beautiful, very beautiful. And
Yes,
so good question. I'm sorry, good response.
yeah, I just had to
Sorry, go ahead.
question my own beliefs growing up um, with critical reasoning and critical thinking. And although I was not very excellent in my thinking back then, but when I look back, I think
Yeah,
I made the greatest decision I can make ever in my life. And I'm still growing. I'm still learning about him. It's an eternal process.
we are all learning.
Yeah.
That's good. I think before we go into the next question, let me ask this follow-up question about the, still on the caste system in India. Would you say it's still something that is still embedded in the modern day society, like the caste system? Is it still heavily implemented in India's modern day
Well,
society?
the way the caste system played out in India, it's very unfortunate. Um, with the Dalits and the untouchability. By the way, the whole society, how the society was established. But if you go to India, it's very different right now. You won't see the caste system, at least in the cities, at least in the millennials, and at least in our generation, you won't see the caste system. But I would not deny the existence of the caste system in India. If you go,
Yeah,
it is still in the minds of the families, uh, family members. Let me put it that way. Uh, uh, it is still embedded in the fabric of India. If you go into the villages or if you go to Orthodox families or Orthodox people, it is still prevalent. So I would say yes. Although you won't see it blatantly in the modern world, but if you get to know someone who is a supporter of the caste system, yes, then
yeah.
it is still prevalent.
I'm curious to think maybe as this generation, as we keep getting a little bit more westernized, and people start thinking more about individual, choices, and it might maybe in a bit erode the lines of those caste system. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Just a thought.
uh,
Yes.
yeah, education is very important to make people understand uh, that all people are equal, that all people are born equal. No one is born higher or lower. Every human being has value, and every human being must be judged on the behavior and the character of that person instead of how the person was born, or the skin color, or their caste system, or
Yeah,
or their family heritage, or whatever. Yeah,
yeah. I think being Christian kind of, it even helps drive that message home because we're all one under Christ. We've all been bought, by a price, and that was the blood of Jesus. So, as a Christian, it's probably something that, even though is applicable in society, you've tried to understand that this doesn't have to be your narrative.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right, good. Thanks for answering that. So another question I had for you is, you speak 4 languages, right?
yeah. I speak 4 languages. Yeah,
Wow, that's like 1/5 of, because I know India has about 20 languages. So you speak English, you speak Hindi, and then you speak Marathi, and then you speak Telugu.
yeah.
I haven't heard of Marathi before. Is that close to Malayalam?
No, Marathi is the language of the state of Maharashtra, in where I grew up. So this Marathi
Ah,
is widely spoken in Maharashtra and in the city of Mumbai. But let me also say this: it's not a big deal for anyone in India to speak more than 2 languages. Every Indian speaks at least 2 languages. So it's not a big deal for me to
two
speak four
languages, yeah.
languages.
I know that already, but four.
Yeah, you can find people who speak 3 languages. It's very common. So I speak Telugu. That is my mother tongue. That's what I grew up speaking. I speak Hindi because I was born in India and I grew up in
Oh, you
Mumbai.
grew up in Mumbai,
Yeah,
yeah,
and they speak Hindi
yeah.
over there. And Marathi is the local language of Mumbai. So that's how I had to learn Marathi in school. And English, of course, I just learned growing up.
And Hindi is the official language.
No, it is not the official language. No, many people,
Oh, really? It's
yeah,
not?
many people.
Or maybe it's the most widely spoken one.
Yeah, it is the language which is mostly spoken in the northern states of India, uh, but it is not the official language of India. The official language of India, believe it or not, is English for the government. For government usage, it's English.
Ah. Okay,
I would say it's not the
very
official
good.
language, but yes, it's the language of the government. English is the language of the government.
Of the government,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite Hindi phrase?
What is it?
What's your favorite your favorite Hindi phrase?
My favorite Hindi phrase?
Yeah, like a saying in Hindi that you like, your favorite one.
Oh, I think if you ask my roommates, they would just say that "maar khayega," which means you're gonna get hit or you're gonna get slapped. That's my that's my favorite Hindi phrase. I just yeah we just fool around, mess
Ah,
around, and yeah if you ask my roommates, they would say
yeah.
that yeah "maar khayega kya," which means like you're gonna get hit or you're gonna get slapped. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
all in it's all in
I'm thinking of my own language as well. Yeah, like in Yoruba language, which is a Nigerian
yeah
language that I
Yoruba.
speak, and the equivalent of that was Tufe Kwabi. And the way it sounds, like it's like, do you want to die? But it's not like they want to kill you, but it's just like, do you want to die? Do you want to die? Like almost like a tongue-in-cheek reference. And there's one in Korean as well as jugole, like, do you want to die?
Yeah,
So it's still, I think it's something that comes close to your Hindi phrase that you want to get hit. Almost like it's a playful
I know.
banter
Yeah,
that
it's
you
all
say
it's
around
it's all in
friends.
good spirit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, good. Thanks for letting us know that.
yeah.
Now, fire. I'm gonna fire three questions at you, and then you have to choose an option of the
Oh
two
no.
options that I
Oh,
provide.
okay.
Tea or coffee?
It's chai, tea.
Chai. That's
Yeah,
tea. And I find it pretentious to say chai tea. Chai tea just means tea tea. It's very
yeah.
redundant.
Chai. It's not chai tea. It's like
Plantains or
just chai.
mango?
Yeah. What is it?
I know, just chai. And I do know that because I have Indian friends, and they corrected me that way long
Yeah.
ago. Plantains or
Of
mangoes?
course, mangoes. We have the best mangoes in the whole world, Alfonso mangoes. So mangoes.
You should have said plantains. It's okay. I forgive
Yeah.
you. Shah Rukh Khan or Salma Khan?
What is that?
Shah Rukh Khan
Yeah.
or Salma Khan?
Oh, of course, it's Shah Rukh Khan. He's the king of Bollywood. Yeah.
Okay, two out of three, not bad.
Yeah. I'm not a
All
hype
right,
fan, so
moving
yeah, Shah Rukh Khan.
on. So you moved to the US in 20, well, when you were 22 to pursue a higher degree, right?
Yes, I came here when I was 22 to study mechanical engineering. That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. I would like to ask, like, briefly, like, what formed your decision and what school did you start with here, and then we can talk about like your work and immigration
Sure.
process.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. So what formed your decision to move to the US?
Oh, so I went to college to study mechanical engineering in India, and when I neared graduation in my like in my third year, I did not know where I was going after graduation, and I really liked what I studied, and I wanted to study more, and I really liked the opportunities available in the US, and uh,
Yeah.
and that's why I planned, okay, why not uh, go to the United States to study mechanical engineering? And I prepared, I gave in the applications, wrote the exams, um, and now I'm here. So at the age of 22, I came to Chicago, to the University of Illinois in Chicago to study mechanical engineering. Yeah, so that was my
That was
decision.
5 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was exactly
Yeah.
5 years ago in August 2013.
Um, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Congrats. So Chicago, and you haven't left Chicago since. You're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still. So I just moved to the suburbs from downtown Chicago. So I'm not very far
Oh
away from
wow, you
Chicago.
moved to the suburbs.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah, I moved closer
big
for work.
money. That was a joke. Sorry,
Oh, that's
ignore
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Ignore that. All right. Well, good. What would you say was the hardest adjustment for you to make in grad school?
Uh, the hardest adjustment for me to make in grad school, well, uh, I would say the freedom that you get, like to choose courses. Like in India,
Oh, okay.
yeah, to
Yeah.
choose your courses. In India, at least in my undergrad, we didn't have the freedom to choose what we wanted to study. Uh, but yeah, it was something different here in grad school to have the sense of freedom to go in whatever direction that you want to go, and so that was not very hard to adjust, but that was very interesting or very surprising.
So that was one. Any other things that you had, to adjust to while you were away from home
Oh
in
yeah,
India?
the hardest thing to adjust was the lack of people on the streets. So I come from
Lack of what?
the lack of people on the streets, the empty streets.
Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
empty streets because I come from India and you see people everywhere. Everywhere you see it's surrounded by people everywhere. And when I came to the US, although I was living in Chicago, which is like a big city, I found it very empty, to be honest. So I
Yeah,
was like, where are the
yeah.
people on the streets? I need some people around me.
You felt like you were in a scene of Walking Dead, huh?
Yeah, Walking Dead. Yeah. So, but now it's fine. It's I got adjusted to it. So it's been
You've
five
gotten
years.
used to
Yeah,
it.
I got used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally understand. Now, in my country, like Nigeria, I wasn't. It's quite crowded, but I think what really blew me away here was just even the apartments, like the high ceilings everywhere, and of course the space between neighbors,
Yeah.
the big yards, the big fences. Like, I think there are fewer people living per square meter in the US than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's correct. Or like,
Basically,
yeah,
there's a lot of unoccupied spaces. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's good. Um, what are you currently reading? I'm curious to know what kind of books you're currently reading.
I am reading a book by Fyodor Dostoevsky. He's a Russian author.
Oh, the Russian guy,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's a book called The Brothers Karamazov. It's about three brothers and a father. And I have a deadline to finish the book by August 26th. It's my friend's book, and he needs it back. And so that is the book that I'm reading. And he was a Russian philosopher, a Russian author. So this is my first Russian literature book that I'm reading.
Oh, nice. Well, good. I have read some of like excerpts from his book before, but I'm very aware of that writer. But I have never really like read like a whole of his book before.
Yeah.
But I've seen quotes here and there from
So
his
yeah,
book.
it's a great
Yeah.
book. I've finished the first part. It has four parts. I finished the first part. So far it's been great. It's very involving. It's about a murder mystery. So I won't go into all the details, but I would highly recommend the book.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh, Good. I think he was a philosopher as well.
yeah, a Russian philosopher, Russian author.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was White Knights. That was one I read a little bit of,
White
you know.
Knights. Okay, I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
White Knights. Yeah. 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 It's about like a man that, without friends, and it's a short story about him,
Oh, okay,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, it's good. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but as a Nigerian growing up in the 80s, we watched a lot of Indian movies. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, Indian movies. So Nigerian film industry. It's called Nollywood. Am I right?
Yeah, you guys are Bollywood. Yeah.
So the Indian film industry, it's apart from Bollywood, there's Tollywood, there's Collywood. So the entire film industry of India is the largest in the world, even bigger than Hollywood in terms of the number of films
I
produced every
know.
year. So
I,
it's
Trust
like
me, I know. And we Nigerians are responsible for making you big.
yeah,
Because Indian movies, my goodness, we were trained. I mean, I watched a lot. Amitabh Bachchan was my favorite like actor growing up.
yeah.
Amitabh
Amitabh Bachchan, yeah.
Bachchan.
Oh, I like him a lot.
And
He's one of my
yeah,
favorites. Yeah,
oh my God.
Big B.
I watched him in there was this new movie about constipation on Netflix. Dang it, I forget. But
Okay,
he couldn't. Well, it's a little bit TMI, but it was about constipation, and
okay. I haven't
it's a
followed
very
yet.
funny movie, by the way. But you need to watch it. I mean, I to me he represents like the quintessential Indian actor because
Yes.
I grew up, watching him. And then I remember growing up as a child, like when you watch Indian movies, one thing I liked about it was the songs.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was always 3 hours long,
yeah,
and then maybe an hour and a half of it was just songs and songs and songs. And there's always the girl, running across the field
yeah.
trying to meet the guy, and then they finally meet by the tree, by the sunflower tree, and then they hug. And just when they're about to kiss, the fan camera fades. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
it's
and
India is a very romantic country. You could see that in the movies.
a lot. And
Yeah,
then I think what changed? Oh, Pico, thank you for that, Sanket. Sanka reminded me of the movie that I was trying to
Piku.
remember. It's
Okay.
Piku, yes. It's a very good, yeah. It's not romantic.
I
There's
know. I know.
maybe just a slight hint of romance, but it's a
Yeah.
really good story.
Yeah.
I like that. And then I think it was 2001. There was this movie called Indian.
Indian?
Man, Indian. That's the title of the movie. That was to me. That was like the shift. Like Indian movies became they stopped being very traditional in the sense of just dancing and
Yeah. Yeah.
wearing
Yeah.
traditional clothes. Like the movie called Indian. It was shot in 2001. It was what to me changed my perspective of Indian being more cosmopolitan,
Yeah.
and the stories were different. The actors were dressed in modern ways, but the story was really, really, it was heavily it was a heavy political movie.
Okay.
But since then I started, seeing that it could be more than just wearing their saris and dancing around the sunflower field.
Yeah.
And then of course there was Three Idiots, which I really like. Still one of my favorites, by the way. And Kuch Kuch Hotai
Oh, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Yeah,
in
that's
med
a
school,
great movie. Yeah.
in pharmacy school. Yes, they had a screening and everybody was. I mean, we all knew what Kuch Kuch Hotai meant. Even the songs, like we sang it all around,
Yeah.
and yeah, and there was Lagan, there was Mission
Lagan,
Kashmir.
that's my
These
favorite
three,
movie.
I always
Yeah.
pronounce his name wrongly.
Hrithik
Is
Roshan.
it
Hrithik Roshan.
Ishq Roshan? I just
The H is
yeah, yeah.
silent, so
I mean,
just say that Hrithik Roshan. Yeah.
Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah.
He's so cute. I love his
He
eyes.
is, yes.
So that's growing up, I think Indian movie was my first introduction into appreciating Asian culture.
Yeah.
And I want to say that without that first step, I probably wouldn't eventually make it to Korea and sorry, understanding Korea and all of that.
Yeah.
And so, but there's some questions that have popped up here. But before we
Yeah.
go into those questions, I want to add this finally. Um, I think when we talk about Indian movies, when we talk about Indian music as well, I think one person we really need to focus on is A.R. Rahman.
Yeah. Oh, A.R.
You know,
Rahman. Yeah. He's like the Mozart for us.
he came to Austin and I didn't get a chance to go see him.
Oh, really?
And it's still one of those things I live back and I'm like, I wish I had gone. I wish I was,
Yeah. He's one of my
able to
favorite
have seen him.
composers. I like him a lot.
He is. I have a playlist on Pandora, just of his songs. And I mean, I listen to a lot of his stuff on YouTube with the Coke Studio.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really good. I think he just had that gift of integrating in the Indian classical music
Yeah.
with like electronic music and making it very contemporary.
Yeah.
So for those that are really enjoy Indian music, I think you should. I'm gonna type it right now in the comment box. A.R. Rahman is somebody you need
Yeah.
to
A.R. Rahman.
learn more about.
Yeah.
And there's something he said about music. He said music is one. Only cultures are different. So music is the language of languages.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I mean that's really good.
Yeah.
So first question for you from Sanket. Sanket,
Yeah. Let
hello.
me read it.
He's my colleague. He wanted to find out what are your experiences with having to bridge the cultural divide between your life here and people back home in India.
Okay. So basically, the question is about the cultural differences between the US and India,
Yeah.
right?
And how you're able to marry most of them here and there.
Yes. So I grew up in a very communal culture. India is very communal, where your neighbors know everything about you. You know everything about your neighbors. So it's people live together. I can walk into my neighbor's house without just knocking. Uh, my neighbor can walk into my house without just asking me. So that's like a basic Indian culture. Like you know people very very closely. You live you know literally everyone in your apartment or in your apartment complex. But when I came here, I don't even know my neighbors. So that was like a big cultural divide for me here in the US, where I intentionally need to go out and make friends, to have a community, to have to make friendships. Um, and so that was one big difference about the culture. And the culture here in the US is very individualistic. Like you can make decisions which would affect only you. But if I make this, if I as an Indian make decisions, it would affect my entire family or my entire community. So yeah, back in India, your decisions they don't affect you alone, but they affect your entire family or even your friends. But here in the US, your decisions don't affect anyone else, but affect you for the most part. So that is one
Well,
big
I mean,
difference.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Just go ahead. You can finish your
Yeah,
thoughts.
that was one big difference that I would say. Like the culture is very individualistic here in the US, which is different.
Yeah.
And
But how are you able to navigate that gap of being from India, where it was, that thing of a communal society where your actions weren't just based on what you thought was right, but you had to think about the greater good, your external community at large. But it's coming to the US where it was all about individual choices, following your passions and all of that.
um, I haven't had a big struggle yet so far. Uh, but yes, eventually, when I plan to settle down, when when I plan to live here for like for more years to come, that would be a big decision for me to make. So that would affect my family and uh,
All right.
yeah.
Thanks for answering that. Another question for you would be, do they still have a lot of arranged marriages in India? Abisai would like to know that.
Abhishek? Oh, okay.
No, 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 Abhishek. Oh, a Nigerian, yeah.
Oh, arranged marriage. It is very different in India right now. It's like so your parents make profiles for you on websites, on apps. So it's like Tinder, but very sophisticated, uh, where you make profiles about yourself or your parents make profiles about you, and you get to meet the girl or you might get to meet the guy, and you go on a date and get to know each other. And then if things work out between the families and between the couple, then yes, that's how it works right now in at least in the cities where I've seen. But I don't know, maybe about forced arranged marriages may be happening in the villages. I don't know, and I hope not. Uh, I hope it doesn't happen like that, but yes, that's how
Yeah.
the situation is right now in India.
I think for my friends, I think Shadi.com is like the most common one.
Yeah, Shadi.com.
And it's almost like the way you do it here with eHarmony and Match.com. The only difference is that your parents are just setting you up. And I hear that now you can get to choose whether you want to go or not. That it's not as bad as it was in the past.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. So, if you still have more questions, guys, keep them rolling. My next question for you, is this. So, you had talked about just you being the things you like to do. So, one of the things that I like to do is traveling, and I just want to find out, like, as an international student, how do you combine that? Like, because I know you travel a lot, not just, within the US, but you travel outside of the country as well.
Yeah.
So, how are you able to finance? I think the big question is finances. Like, how are you able to travel? Given that there's so much you could have done then as an international student.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're an international student here in the US, at least traveling outside the US is very restrictive. Uh, uh, Finances is one big reason, but also your visa status. That is one
Yeah,
big reason. So in the first 2 years of my stay here in the US, I did not travel anywhere because I was a student. I was living on a budget. I just traveled to Chicago, like surrounding areas in Chicago, or just to Indiana, Wisconsin. That's it. I never traveled at least uh, 200 miles away from Chicago. But when I started working as a mechanical engineer after graduation, that's when I saved up money and I got to travel to California, to Texas, to Utah, the East Coast, and other states. But if you ask me about international travel, well, yes, recently I went to South Africa for a friend's wedding, which is like so far away,
yeah,
and it was challenging because I don't have uh, a US passport. So I need, as an Indian citizen, I had to apply for a visa. So I had gone to the Consulate General of South Africa in Chicago, and I had to apply for a visa. The process took around 2 weeks, and after the visa, I had to book the plane tickets. And yeah, tickets were so expensive, but I had saved up. I think I would consider myself as a good spender. Uh, so uh, it was a planned trip, so I saved up for the trip, and uh, yeah, that's what helped me to go to South Africa, to the continent where you're from.
oh, good.
Yeah,
So you just saved a little bit and you're able to afford that.
yeah,
Good. Um, so I think we can move slowly into the immigration system. So I know for Indians, H1B is that's one of visas you guys largely benefit from,
Yeah.
but it's not always very easy getting,
Oh, yes, yes.
you know.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know what the H1B is, if you're not from the US, when you come into the US, you have to be admitted on a visa class.
Yes.
So there are many visa classes. The most common ones that are real to people like me and Pawan is the F visa
Yeah.
category, which specifically the F1, that's a student visa. There's also the J visa, which is almost like an exchange
Yes,
student
yes,
visa.
yes.
And then the last one is the H1B.
Yeah.
The H1B is for a highly skilled worker, and then your employer has to file for you.
Yeah.
But depending on where you work, if you work for a non-profit organization, you don't have to do a raffle
Yeah.
or the lottery, like we
Yes,
call
that
it.
is correct.
But if you work for a big organization that is for profit, they have to go through a raffle system. So I think April, sometime April 1st is when the raffle is released.
Yeah.
So depending on if you're lucky or not, you might get the visa, but you can keep applying. But I think you have up to like a maximum of 4 applications you can put in.
It's
And if you don't get it, you have to leave the country.
yeah, three
But the good thing
applications.
about the H1B is yeah, it's a good pathway to the green card. But not everybody is lucky to get it. So I like Pawan to share his experience. I don't know if you've finally been able to get it,
Yeah.
but what is your immigration status right now, and what
Okay.
were the challenges you've had with that?
I'll share my experience. First of all, the biggest challenge for me was to find a job after graduation. For mechanical engineers,
Really?
for aeronautical engineers, it is very hard to find a job in mechanical engineering in the US. So after graduation, after 3 months, I got my first job as a design engineer. So they hired me on a contract, which means they just kept me for 3 months and they would make a decision later. So after 3 months, thank God, they accepted. They gave me a full-time offer. They liked my performance, and
Oh, nice.
they wanted me to be an employee of the company. And I just told my previous employer that, hey, if you want me to hire full-time, you would need to apply for an H-1B visa, which would allow me to stay with the company for a longer period of time. So I worked for a very small company, and they did not know how the process works. So we just agreed to work together, and so every international student has every student who studies engineering or who is in the STEM field has 3 years to attempt to apply for an H-1B visa, right?
Yeah.
So my first year, my company did not apply for an H-1B visa because my company was not e-verified, which means you cannot extend your OPT for 2 more years, right? So I missed my chance in
Yeah.
that. So in the second year, they applied for the H-1B process. I had to contact a lawyer, an immigration lawyer, and had to give them the contact of the immigration lawyer, and they worked together, right? So in the second year, which was April 2017, they applied for my H-1B, and it's a lottery process as you mentioned. And
Yeah.
but thank God, my application got picked up in the lottery, and it was also processed, and it was a very smooth process, at least for me. So my H-1B was approved in 2017 in the month of October, so which would allow me to stay here for 2021 and then extend it for 3 more years until 2024,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
2020 and then 2023, yeah, until 2023, right? So that's how my H-1B got accepted, and I'm here in H-1B visa. But recently, I changed my employers. I went to a new company. Right now, I'm working for Molex.
Oh, Molex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it is a big challenge to find another employer who would be willing to sponsor your H-1B visa. And so my interview was after coming back from after my trip to South Africa, and thank God I got that job, and
Well, congrats.
and yeah, and they were willing to do my H-1B, and they did an H-1B transfer, which means you just apply for an H-1B
Just
transfer.
thinking, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it takes the same amount of money for the employer to spend for the entire process.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, but they just have to avoid the lottery process. They don't have to go through the lottery process.
Yeah.
It's a very simple process as long as they are willing to spend the money. So
So for those that are listening, that might be sorry, finish your thought. I had a question after that. Sorry, finish your
yeah,
thought.
so that was my journey. I'm on H-1B with my current employer, which is Molex, and I hope to be with the company for the next 5 or 6 years. I don't know. So wherever God takes me.
Oh, okay. I like that. For those that are listening, that might be, venturing into that, like trying to get a visa after school. and being an international student, the struggles associated with that. What kind of words of encouragement would you like to say to them?
Yes, I have seen I have personally seen in the lives of my very close friends to go through this struggle, and I really understand the struggle. I've been through it, and thank God it worked out for me. The people say it is luck, but I would say that it is God's favor, and I thank God for that. But I do have friends who didn't make it through the process. But this is not the end of life. I would just want to encourage them that this is not everything. Life is beyond your H-1B or your visa. That is, if your life is just limited to a visa or to a country, that is not the whole picture of life. Life is beyond that. It's about relationships. It's about many other things in life. Uh, I would just encourage anyone who hasn't achieved or who hasn't got what they wanted to keep giving up is never an option. To keep trying, to keep moving on. If you miss something, keep looking ahead, not looking back, and never give up. Perseverance and discipline are one of my uh, key values in life, and I would like to share it with the world and say that yes, keep persevering, keep working hard, and hard work uh, never gets never goes without a reward. That's what I would say.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That was good. I think the big thing I got there from was that your life is more than getting or not getting an H-1B visa.
yeah,
And then wherever you find yourself, you keep moving, look forward, don't, look back, like reflect on what didn't go for you.
yeah.
I like that. I think it's the story we need to keep reminding our own selves and even those around us that might be struggling through this. So thank you for sharing that experience,
Thank
Pawan.
you.
Really, really appreciate it. Um, I'm gonna go a little bit backwards to ask you a question that
Sure.
was posed by, and I'm sorry if I don't say this name very well, correct. Saurabh
Oh yeah,
Jadhab, I think is your friend.
he's one of my best friends. He was my roommate. He lives in Florida. Yeah, so
Okay, so is it the one you always say you're gonna die to?
what is it?
Sorry, do you want to get hit?
मार खाएगा
You want to get
business. You're
hit?
gonna get slapped. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to know how difficult is it for an international student to settle down in the US?
If you speak about the immigration process, as I just mentioned, that is very difficult. First, you come here as a student, and then you find an employer who is willing to sponsor your H-1B, and then after after they sponsor your H-1B, uh, they should be willing to sponsor your green card. And once they apply for a green card, it takes anywhere between 10 years to 15 years for Indian citizens to get a green card. So the wait is
Mm,
it's so long. So let's say, yeah, it takes around 20 years from the day you arrive in the US to become a green card uh, or a green card holder in the US. So it is very difficult for Indians. So that is the immigration process. Also, adjusting to the different culture, to the American way of life. That depends on each individual. That's a very subjective experience. So yeah, it depends on each person how they handle it and how they take it.
I like that. So it depends on just what your experience, in your experience. And to add to that, I think community is also very, very important.
Yes.
When you move from like Pawan said earlier on, when you move from a collectivist society, like in India, even Nigeria is similar in that
Yeah.
regard, where there's just too much, cohesiveness within the family structure and the social structure outside of the family at large. And then you come to the US where, individual, individual, individual. To me, that was one of the hardest things to adjust to because I think at one point I would say I was depressed about it because it felt like I was so lonely.
Yeah.
I was so, so lonely, and it was very difficult for me to navigate that space. So find your community, find people that can, be like your family away from home because that helps you pass your time very well.
Yeah.
And that also, because I think the thing about being human, regardless of where you're from, is
Yeah.
we all want to connect to something. We all want to feel like we belong somewhere. So find where you belong. You can volunteer, you can join, public groups. I do Toastmasters.
Yeah.
So I have friends from Toastmasters.
I was
I
in
volunteer with
Toastmasters.
students. I love you in
I was
Toastmasters?
the vice president of Toastmasters in UIC.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. I'm an area governor now. well, they call it district area director. Yeah,
yeah,
I've been in Toastmasters for 7 years. So you can do Toastmasters. You can, find people from church or chess club, whatever interest you have. There's always a group out there willing to take you in.
yeah. That is
But
correct.
that's probably what's going to help you because that will be the hardest adjustment you're making from a very different society like you have in India to a very different society like you have in the
Yeah,
US. All right. Thank you, but I liked how you really answered that, Pawan. Now, another thing I really wanted to explore with you, based on just our conversation, was racial identity. So, one of the things I first realized when I moved here was that I was black,
yeah,
and then the second thing I realized when I went back home was like I was not Nigerian enough anymore. Now, and I know you've been to India since you moved here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What would you say, like, what's that feeling? First question is this: do you feel like you're neither here or there in terms of you're not Indian enough, you're not American enough? And if you feel that way, how are you able to cope with that new revelation, or if it's not so new, but how have you been able to cope with that idea that home right now is just not really like the way home used to be for you before you moved to the US?
I never had that struggle of not of having of not having a sense of belonging when I went back home. Uh, as soon as I came out of the airport, I always felt like kissing the ground in India. Um, and I never had any let's say this uh, any identity crisis. I always know, and I always grew up with this fact that yes, I'm an Indian. I'm a brown-skinned Indian, and I'm very and I thank God for my
Daisy boy.
yeah. I'm a Desi boy, and I thank God for my race, for my ethnicity, and I can't thank Him enough. And when I come here to the US is a melting pot of different races, different cultures, and I see a good blend, a good mix of it, at least in my experience with the people that I had been in contact and I'm in contact with. So yes, I'm very comfortable in my racial identity, and even here in the US, even when I go back home to India.
Oh, okay. So it's probably not in reality, but that's a very good answer as
Yeah,
well. I like that you said that. Um, you've been disappointed before in life because I know you've shared a story about that. Now, what do you think are one of the ways to build emotional resilience as far as coping with disappointment? And I'm saying that because I know you're Indian and I know there's a high functioning society where you guys can be very competitive,
yeah,
you know, and just the way you're taught, the way, you're disciplined. And I see that a lot with my Indian friends is the Asian stereotype,
yeah.
which I can kind of relate to because Nigerian parents can be that way. But how do you cope with failure? How do you cope with, disappointment? And how do you build emotional resilience around those kind of experiences?
Okay, that is a great question. And I have gone through failure in life. I have gone through rock bottom phases in my life when I was in after high school or after junior college. That was one of my biggest, let's say, lowest points in life. So, yes, disappointment, it is a part of life. If you have never been disappointed, if you have never failed in life, then I would say that you have never lived your life. And um,
Mm.
and in life, how you live your how your life works out is the way you react to your circumstances, the way you react to your disappointments. And the way I took it, yes, when I had gone through failure, I made a resolution to keep working hard and to not look back and to not live in the past, but to keep looking forward, um, um, keep working hard, and be with the right people. That's what I would say. If you surround yourself with people who always remind you of your failures and who always remind you of your weaknesses, those are not the right people that you can be around with. And um, and thankfully, I was surrounded by like good friends who pushed me to work hard, and I relate this with exercise as well. Like exercise and physical fitness, physical activities,
Yeah.
it takes discipline,
Yeah.
and consistency is what matters for you to have success. And that is what I learned from my training or physical activities, and I bring it to my real life. And So
I like
yeah,
that.
discipline, consistency, and a positive attitude, and not looking back, but always keep looking forward. Uh, that is my 2 cents or my tips.
I like that. I liked how you. So two things I got from there was, how you talked about our reactions to our field experiences determine how we succeed,
Yeah,
and then consistency and discipline. Two things that you've learned from your physical fitness experience.
yeah,
This is what you're bringing,
yeah,
to your own work. That's really good. That's a very, very that's a very good way of putting it, and I'm sure
yeah.
it's something we can all appreciate. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of physical fitness, you've been doing that for a while, right?
Yeah, I was never physically fit growing up, but I got into working out and sports and physical activities, and let's say at the age of 19 or 18 or 19, and I've been consistent. I've been consistent since then.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So I mean, I don't like exercising. Like, it's just
I know
very
it is hard,
stressful.
but it
So
teaches you discipline.
how do you encourage yourself to wake? So how many times a day do you work out? And what kind of workout do you do?
So right now with my full-time job and living a life, it is hard. So I make it a point to work out at least 3 or 4 times a week. And thankfully, my company where I work, they encourage physical health and physical fitness. So there is a gym in the office. People work out during lunch. People play sports during lunch. People go out for runs during lunch. So I've been playing soccer for the last 3 days with my coworkers during lunch, and so
Wow.
this takes,
During lunch, you play soccer?
yeah, during lunch we played
So
soccer
how do
this
you
week.
like when after playing soccer? I mean, I imagine like you're sweating, and how do
Yes.
you like?
So you play soccer and
You have to wear
yeah,
your work.
yeah, we play soccer and then we take a shower and then get back to our work clothes. So that's how it
Oh,
is.
you have shower stalls.
Yeah, there's a
You have shower stalls.
there's a big gym at
Wow.
work.
Okay.
There's a big shower place. So
Well, that's really good. They really do encourage physical fitness.
yeah, so I think I'm in the right place.
Good for you. So even though I say I don't really like doing exercise, the things I like doing Zumba, and I began to do yoga for my mind. So I want to ask, as a Christian who's also Indian, yoga, yay or nay? Why not?
Well, that's a very difficult question, and you put me on the spot.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been dying to ask somebody
Yeah,
this
so yes,
publicly.
I would not deny that yoga has amazing physical benefits and health benefits, but the main reason is yoga is a spiritual process to discover the divine within you. That is the main goal of yoga, to discover that God or like the divine lives within you. But I believe that God is He is the creator. He is not the created. He is not created. He is the creator, and He is outside creation, and He is a person, and God revealed Himself through Jesus, and that is what I believe in, and that is how I came to know the truth that God became a man, and and that is Jesus. And um, so that's my way of experiencing reaching the truth, that is through Jesus. Jesus said He is the way, the truth, and the life. So yes, yoga has amazing health benefits or physical benefits, uh, uh, but it is the way it is practiced here in the West. That is not the real purpose of yoga.
So basically, as Christians, you just say it's safer for us to practice yoga in the West than practicing when you go to India.
Can you say that again, please?
So I want to imagine that in the West, like in the East, where you're coming from, it's very spiritual. Like it's a very spiritual exercise,
Yeah,
and you do see some elements of it. I say like I want to imagine that the ones you have in the US, it's like a mimicry of it, but it's not the full version of it.
yeah,
So would you now say that it's safer for Christians to stick to the Western version of yoga than adopt the Eastern version of yoga?
yeah. So yoga is very ancient. It's like thousands of years old, and
Yeah,
its purpose, the purpose of yoga is to is to is to experience the divine and to liberation. That is the
like
purpose
you
of
said,
that.
yeah.
That is the real purpose of yoga. Uh, but as a believer, if I believe that God is Jesus, and and my way of experiencing Him is through is to have a relationship with Christ. Uh, so I would not do it myself for spiritual reasons. Uh, but yes, I would not deny the excellent health benefits, the stretching, and so on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm kind of rounding off now, but I wanted to ask you two quick questions. What do you think our purpose is here on Earth?
Oh, so that is a great question, and this question has been haunting humanity throughout its existence in human on the earth. So I always wondered about my purpose here on this earth. That why am I living? What is my destination, and where am I going, and what is the purpose of my existence? So when I came to Christ, I came to the one who gave me purpose in this life, who made me with a purpose, and uh, who gives me meaning in life. And it is through a relationship with Him I have realized that yes, life is about relationships. And
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship with someone, you forget the entire world. It's about you and that person, right? And uh, uh, it, and in the grand scheme of things, yes, life ultimately is about a relationship with God, and it's about having the ultimate relationship with Him. It's to know that why He made you, and to know Him. When you have a relationship with someone, you get to know them. You keep getting to know them throughout life. But when you have a relationship with God, this process is it's an eternal process, because God is infinite and God is eternal. So I would say yes, the purpose of our life here on this earth is to know God, is to know Him personally as a person, and to live the life that He has given you, and to find fulfillment in whatever He has given
Mm.
you. So I find my fulfillment in my work. I find my fulfillment in my relationships with my families, with my family and friends. I find my fulfillment in my hobbies and the way I live my life. So, and to live each life as if it's the last day of your life here on this earth. That was said by Steve Jobs. So, uh, so yes, I would say yes. It's about a relationship. The ultimate purpose of life is to have a relationship, and to glorify God here on this earth, to make Him known.
I like that. And I'm actually typing your words. Like I find my fulfillment in my work, in my hobbies, with my families and friends. And with those pillars, friendship with people, our relationship with family, and then our expressions through the talents God has given us. I think with those well expressed, it makes for a well balanced life.
Yeah,
So thanks for that reminder. Really, really appreciate
you're
it.
welcome.
Final question for you. I'm Nigerian, right? Is there anything you're curious to know about Nigeria? I've been asking you a lot about India
Yeah,
and you being Indian. Now is your time to like get back at me quickly as fast as you can.
yeah. I do have great friends from Nigeria, right? And
Yeah.
I know a little bit, or let's say something more about Nigeria. But I'm always curious about the tribes in Nigeria. How does tribes work? Because I know that there are three tribes: Igbo, Yoruba, and
Major tribes.
yeah, three major tribes: Igbo, Yoruba, and what is the
Yeah.
third tribe?
Hausa.
Hausa. Oh yes, that's correct. So I don't know how the tribal system is has how has it been established, or how does it work? Can you please give an explanation, or for everyone who's watching?
Yeah, I forgot to. Very good question, by the way. And I forgot to mention this in the beginning. We do have another commonality.
Yeah.
We are, former British
Oh yeah.
colonized.
Yes,
You
the
know,
British.
the British they come somewhere and they just, disrupt everything. So the tribes, they're not anything more than geographical conveniences.
Okay.
So Nigeria was mapped into three main protectorates, I think, in 1914, and was a now my history is like all mumbled up, but there was a northern, eastern, and I think southern. But basically, the tribes are just geographical markers in a
Okay.
way. So, but now we into marriages and people moving about for work, for marriages, for all kind of things. It's predominantly you can say this place is a Yoruba state,
Yeah.
but not all Yorubas will live there. People are now traveling and moving around and relocating to places that were not born. So basically, the tribe is just like geographical markers, and with that, you find that commonality of people, speaking the same
Yeah.
languages. It might be different dialect, but the same language. They do things in a peculiar way, different from the next tribe. So the concept of tribe really isn't like you have your own caste system, which is where deeply etched.
Yeah.
But the tribal system in Nigeria is not. I mean, it's deeply etched, but it's not something that it could be fluid because you could marry somebody, and then if you marry, for example, an Igbo person, if you're female, you married an Igbo male, you're not considered an Igbo person because you have to take his last name,
Yeah.
and then your generation kind of branches out to another tribe. So intermarriages is kind of with intermarriages, intertribal marriages, we're having like the weakening of tribal lines.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. And the good thing about being Nigerian and having those tribes is if somebody told me their last name, I can tell you with a degree of accuracy what part of the country they are
Okay,
from.
got it.
But like I said now, it's probably a lot difficult because people are intermarrying, and so it's not like you're gonna get it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's the concept of tribe. It's just basically what defines us is how we dress,
Okay.
like especially for like occasions like weddings. Is a particular way Yorubas would dress versus the way an Igbo person would dress versus the way a Hausa person would dress.
Yeah.
And but I think all in all, we all make for a colorful representation of and a vibrant representation of what Nigeria is like.
Yeah. That's great.
But very, very good
Yeah.
question.
One more
Anything
question.
else
One more
you
question about
okay?
Nigeria. Well, Nigeria is known
True.
as the powerhouse of Africa, right? And how
Yeah.
and how would you defend that, or what would you say that? What is the reason for that? Why is Nigeria the powerhouse of Africa, and what makes it the way it is? What makes it a superpower, at least in Africa?
I mean, I think there's something about Nigerians, and I want to throw this bias out there because I'm Nigerian.
Yeah.
Everybody will say, "Oh, because she's Nigerian, that's why she's saying that." Uh-uh. I think what makes it really good is number one, it's the people. You know, it's the people. We've had we've had when you talk about bad luck, like back to back of poor governance,
Yeah.
but the people there's a way they just add to the beauty of it. So that I think the people make Nigeria great. Let's not forget that because we don't have the best infrastructure in the world.
Yeah.
But even when in the beginning, when we were under the military, regime, they did do some good. They built a lot of the infrastructure, and then Nigeria has helped a lot of other countries as well. Nigeria helped South Africa during the apartheid. Nigeria helped Ghana with electricity. Like we've done a lot for other countries. I think Nigeria has a better reputation outside of Nigeria
Yeah.
in most times than Nigeria itself. So I think it's the people because if I think of the place itself, the conditions are really hard, and to me, there's a mismatch between the skeletal framework of the country, meaning the infrastructure and all the public services, but the people you find there's a mismatch. Like, what a lovely people living in hellish places. So I think it's the people, and of course, yes, like Mr. Popola Kennedy just said, the natural resources. We have oil. We have, we used to have like, granite pyramids. We used to be like the number one exporter of cocoa and, agricultural proceeds. But of course, with corruption and people just lining their pockets, that has dwindled. So yes, Nigeria is very rich in a lot of natural
Yeah.
resources. Like we look good on paper, we look good on CV. Like we have a lot of money, but of course, you know that it's not translated to effect changes in the lives of the
Yeah.
citizenry. So yes, that's one thing Nigeria is good. So the people, the natural resources, and the spirit of resilience.
Yeah.
Every time, everywhere you find Nigerians, even here in the US, like an average Nigerian is always, optimistic, like it's gonna get better. So we try to, power on and do things in a very intentional way because we know that going back home there's really not an option. And yeah, like Mr. Oyebola Fari just said, it's the spirit in us. We tend to see the cup that is half full. And average Nigerian is always optimistic. And we also pride us. We value education so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
because we know it's one of the key ways to get out of poverty. So you find like in the US here, if you find like 10 Africans, about 7 or 8 of them will be from Nigeria, studying, medicine or studying a PhD in something or getting a master's in something, because we do believe in the power of education. We do believe in education and how we can translate our lives from poverty. So yes, the people, the spirit in us, there's no way I can explain, but there's we call it Ninja spirit. Like it can't be killed.
Yeah.
We've lived through hellish conditions. we just refuse to be killed. And that's the concept of resilience,
Yeah.
where you can put me down, you can kill me, you can do everything in me, but you cannot kill my spirit. I mean, that's an average Nigerian for you,
Yeah.
because we are our own government. We provide our own source of electricity. We pave the road ourselves in the literal sense of it. The government does nothing for us, nothing. I mean, security is lax. So a Nigerian knows how to be self-sufficient in terms of having to like think about what I can do to feed my family, what I
Yeah.
can do to put food on the table, because the government isn't really helping. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. One thing which I really love about Nigeria is the dance. Like when I was in India, I had friends from Nigeria, and in our church, like we had friends from Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. And oh man, the way you guys dance, it's even a
Yeah.
crippled man who cannot walk and can just get up and start dancing. Oh man,
Yeah.
I really appreciate
I've
that.
hardly found a Nigerian who cannot dance.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There are a lot of us that can dance. But yeah, we love parties. I mean, you haven't lived until you've attended a Nigerian
Yes,
party, by the way.
I really
I'm
love
making
the
a
energy.
Yoruba
The
one.
the energy is out of this world.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. See, that's the Nigerian spirit. It's a testament to the Nigerian spirit. We're full of life. We want to live life to the fullest. Very full of life.
Yeah.
Very, mindful, and very, boisterous, and just, vivacious. Very full of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, well, Pawan, someone wants me to let you know that you need to learn the shaku shaku dance.
Oh yeah, I look it up.
Do you know about
I
it?
will look it up.
You should look it up. And yeah, yeah, let me know. It's very easy. You even like it. I'm actually kind of doing a little bit of it. Anyways, so this was the show, everyone. Thank you for joining in, and thank you so much, Pawan, for just stopping by
My
and
pleasure and honor to
sharing
be
your
on your show.
story.
Thank you. Thank you
Your
for
con-
inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you. Your conversion story from being growing up in India. You were born in Hyderabad, but then you moved to Mumbai, and then moving to the US. Your struggles with immigration. You also gave us a lot of tips on how to just navigate that space, never to give up. I think one of the quotes that I really, really want to reemphasize is, what determines how we succeed is our reaction to it.
Yeah.
And I think that concept of life is 99% perspiration. I'm kind of mixing things up, but anyways, like our reaction determines just how we can either move forward or get stuck in the past.
Yeah.
So thanks for that, and I love how you describe your relationship with Jesus, how that really means a lot to you. Thanks for painting that journey for us. I also like how you're very family oriented.
Yeah.
You talked about friends, you talked about community. So, in all, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your
You are
story.
welcome.
And
Thank you.
before we go, Mr. Bola just said something like, if you go anywhere in the world, and I've heard it said before, if you go anywhere in the world and you don't find a Nigerian there, don't stay there.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's either yeah,
I completely agree.
because because it's either that place is not entrepreneurial enough, there's no money to be made, or the people are very hostile, because we go where the money is.
Yeah.
Because we want to apply our skills to gain money and all that. So that's that. Thank you all for listening. This was the show, and I hope to catch you guys on another episode of the Multiple Podcast. All right, Pawan, really, really
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you very much.
And enjoy the rest of your
Oh yeah,
day.
absolutely. Thank you very much. See you.
All right,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Bye, everyone.